Didn't answer her right away. Not because I didn't want to stay, but because some part of me understood that staying meant crossing a line that couldn't be uncrossed. The kind of line that turns harmless moments into memories you carry longer than you expect. She noticed the hesitation. Of course she did. You don't have to, she added softly, her voice gentler now, like she was offering me an exit she didn't really want me to take. I just thought, it'd be nice. I let out a slow breath and leaned back into the couch, finally allowing myself to relax. A little longer, I said. I can do that. Her shoulders eased, just slightly, but I caught it. She smiled, not the confident smile she wore so easily, but something smaller. Relieved. Good, she said. She shifted closer, pulling her legs up onto the couch, tucking them beneath her. The movement brought her nearer without making it obvious, like she didn't want to draw attention to the distance shrinking between us. I could feel the warmth of her through the fabric of her sweater, smell the faint scent of her shampoo. Something floral, something familiar. The TV was on mute in the background, forgotten. A show neither of us was watching. The room felt quieter than before, like the air itself was listening. So, she said, breaking the silence. What were you really thinking about when you showed up at my door? I smiled faintly. You don't give up, do you? No, she said simply. Not when it matters. I stared at my hands for a moment, fingers loosely interlaced. I was in the area, I said truthfully. I thought about texting. Then I thought about not texting. Then I realized I'd already driven halfway here. She laughed softly. That sounds like you. I wasn't sure if you'd want to see me. Her smile faded just a touch. Why wouldn't I? I glanced at her, meeting her eyes. Because it's complicated. She nodded, slow and thoughtful. Yeah, she said. It is. Another pause settled between us, heavier this time. Not uncomfortable, just honest. She leaned back against the couch cushion, pulling the sweater tighter around herself. Do you ever think about how strange timing is? She asked. How people come into your life at the wrong moment, or maybe the right one, just badly timed. All the time, I said. Especially lately. Her eyes flicked toward me. Lately. Yeah, I admitted. I've been thinking about paths. Choices. The things we didn't say when we had the chance. Her fingers traced the rim of her mug absently. That sounds like regret. More like curiosity, I said. About what might have happened if we'd been braver. She turned fully toward me now, knees angled in my direction. And do you think about us when you think about that? The question was quiet, but it landed hard. I didn't dodge it. Yes. Her breath caught, not dramatically, just enough for me to notice. She looked away for a moment, blinking like she was organizing her thoughts. I do too, she said. The confession hung between us, fragile and real. I didn't expect you to say that, I admitted. She smiled sadly. I didn't expect myself to. We sat there, inches apart, sharing the kind of silence that says more than words ever could. My heart was beating too fast now, my awareness of her overwhelming. Every small movement felt magnified, the way she shifted her weight, the way her fingers tightened around the mug, the way her foot brushed mine again, deliberate this time. I used to tell myself it was better this way, she said. Easier. Safer. And now, she met my gaze. Now I'm not so sure. I leaned forward slightly, resting my elbows on my knees. I didn't come here expecting this. I know, she said. That's why I asked you to stay. She stood suddenly, setting her mug down on the table. Do you want more coffee? I shook my head. I'm good. She hesitated, then nodded. Instead of going back to the kitchen, she moved toward the window, looking out at the fading light outside. The city glowed softly, evening settling in. I used to imagine moments like this, she said, her back still to me. Not exactly like this, but close. You being here, talking without pretending everything's simple. I stood, unable to stay seated any longer. I joined her by the window, careful not to crowd her but close enough that our shoulders nearly touched. Why didn't you ever say anything? I asked gently. She exhaled. Because saying something changes things. So does not saying something, I replied. She smiled faintly at that, turning to face me. You always were good at that. Saying the things I avoid. Our eyes locked. The distance between us felt impossibly small now. I don't want to mess this up, she said quietly. Neither do I said. But pretending there's nothing here doesn't feel right anymore. She studied my face like she was memorizing it. You've changed, she said again. So have you. Maybe that's why this feels different. She took a step closer. I didn't move away. You know, she said softly, when you knocked. Well, when I opened the door, I almost told myself not to let you in. And why didn't you? Because some chances don't knock twice, she said. My heart thudded in my chest. What are you saying? She smiled, nervous but sincere. I'm saying I don't want tonight to be another, what if? The air between us felt electric now, charged with possibility. I could see the question in her eyes, unspoken but clear. I reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away if she wanted to. She didn't. My fingers brushed hers, then laced gently through them. Her breath hitched. Staying a little longer, I said quietly. Is that all you meant? She squeezed my hand, her thumb brushing against my knuckles. For now, she said. Yes. Outside, the sky darkened completely, the city lights flickering on one by one. Inside her apartment, time seemed to slow, stretching into something fragile and full of promise. I had come to say hello. The city outside had fully surrendered to night now, streetlights glowing, distant traffic humming like a lullaby. Inside, the reflection of us in the glass looked almost like strangers caught in a moment that wasn't meant to be rushed. Her hand was still in mine. Warm, steady, like it belonged there. She was the first to pull back, though she didn't let go completely. Come sit, she said softly. You're making my heart race standing that close. I smiled. I wasn't aware I was doing anything. That's the problem, she replied, giving me a look that made my chest tighten. You don't have to try. We returned to the couch, sitting closer now, no careful gaps, no pretending. Her shoulder rested lightly against my arm, tentative at first, then more certain when I didn't move away. Do you remember the first time we met? She asked. I laughed quietly. You spilled coffee on my jacket. You walked right into me, she corrected. And you apologized like it was entirely your fault. She smiled at the memory. I always do that. I noticed. She turned her head slightly, studying my face from this angle. You noticed a lot of things back then. I still do, I said. Her gaze softened. Why didn't we ever talk about this before? Because timing was cruel, I said. And because I was afraid of wanting something I couldn't have. She nodded slowly. I told myself you were just safe. Familiar. Someone I trusted. And now I'm realizing I might have been lying to myself. Her fingers traced small, unconscious patterns on the couch cushion between us. I watched them, resisting the urge to reach out again too. Soon. You know what scares me? She said quietly. What? That if we keep going, things will change. And if they change, we might lose what we already have. I leaned back slightly, giving her space without pulling away completely. And what scares me, I said, is that if we don't keep going, we'll always wonder what we were protecting ourselves from. She looked at me then, really looked at me. Like she was searching for certainty in my expression. You've always been like this, she said. Calm, honest, even when it's uncomfortable. I don't feel very calm right now, I admitted. That made her laugh, a soft, genuine sound that eased some of the tension in the room. Good. That makes two of us. She stood abruptly, pacing a few steps before turning back. I need to move, she said. If I sit still, I'll overthink everything. Overthinking is kind of your specialty, I teased gently. She shot me a look. Says the man who drove halfway across town arguing with himself. Fair, I said. She stopped in front of me again, arms folded loosely, expression more vulnerable now. If we do this, she said, we do it slowly. Honestly. No pretending. I stood, meeting her eye level. I wouldn't want it any other way. Her shoulders relaxed at that. Good. We stood there, close again, but this time the closeness felt earned. Intentional. I keep replaying the moment you showed up, she said. I almost didn't open the door. I'm glad you did. So am I, she said. But it wasn't easy. Nothing worth doing ever is. She smiled at that, then sighed. You always sound like you've rehearsed these lines. I promise I haven't, I said. I'm just saying what feels true. She stepped closer. Not close enough to touch, yet. Do you know what I thought when I saw you? I shook my head. That you felt like a pause, she said. Like the world had been rushing, and suddenly everything slowed down. My chest tightened. That's exactly how this feels to me. Her eyes glistened just slightly, not tears, just emotion threatening to spill over. I don't want to rush this, she repeated. We won't, I said firmly. We don't have to decide everything tonight. She nodded, relieved. Thank you. For what? For not pushing, she said. For staying, but not demanding more than I can give right now. I reached out then, brushing a strand of hair from her face. The touch was light, careful. She didn't pull away. Whatever this becomes, I said, I want it to feel right for both of us. Her hand came up to rest over mine, holding it there against her cheek. The gesture was intimate in a quiet, profound way. It already does, she whispered. Time seemed to stretch again, the moment thick with emotion. We stood there like that, hands connected, breaths shallow, hearts doing far more talking than our mouths. Eventually, she leaned her forehead against my shoulder. Not dramatic, not rushed. Just natural. I'm really glad you stayed, she murmured. Me too. Outside, the city continued its endless motion, unaware that something delicate and important was unfolding in a small apartment lit by a single lamp. She pulled back slightly, just enough to look up at me. You can stay a little longer, she said again, this time with a faint smile. But no disappearing acts after tonight. I won't, I promised. Not this time. She searched my face, then nodded, satisfied. Okay. We sat back down together, closer than before, her head resting lightly against my shoulder now. No rush, no pressure. Just two people letting something long unspoken finally breathe. I had come without expectations.